Hello everybody! Today we are going to be learning the ins and outs of Faust. She, in my opinion, is the best idea in the game, and it's not even close. I will be explaining your kit in the clearest way I can, and show you some niche mechanics that I find very interesting and useful. If you guys like this video, I would love to make more style videos like this, particularly on Z Chunmao, as I believe she had one of the biggest glow-ups in Limbus history. What I want to start off with is her Strider Mao. You gain 3 Strider Mao through her counter and skill 3. It gives her 5 haste and expires 1 stack at turn. This is crucial for her kit, as she gains a lot from being faster than the opponent and for being at 10 or more speed. However, her speed values are 4 to 7, so there's a 25% chance to land at 9 speed, which puts you in an awkward situation. This chance may seem small, but it happens way more than you might think. There are ways to get out of this, however. Just like the other Maos, they gain haste on the skill 2, which guarantees a 10 or above speed value when paired with Strider Mao. Faust, on the other hand, decides she wants to be extra and gain 1 haste when at 10 or above Tianju Starblade. What is this sick unique buff, you might be wondering? Well, this is the key to why she is absolutely absurd. Now, how can I do without attack weight be the best in the game? Let's just make her have absurd single target damage, rupture potency, count infliction, and attack with multiple ascendant skill 3s in a single turn. That's not even it. She has multiple ways of triggering rupture damage without even absorbing count. Something that is supposed to be Rupture's biggest weakness. And what makes all this possible is Tianju Starblade. It doesn't look like much at first. All it says is it gives a single haste at a stack of 10 or more, which, don't get me wrong, guaranteeing a 10 speed with Strider Mao is amazing. But that little use for a certain skill section is where things start to get crazy. But first, you must learn how to gain Tianju Starblade, which means we have to learn about the death rights. There are currently 3 death rights that center IDs can inflict. Deathrite Haste, inflicted by the Mao branch off the skill 3. Deathrite Venom, inflicted by the C branch with both skill 2s and Gregor's skill 3. And Deathrite Fissure, which is only inflicted by Faust's Ascendant skill 3. When Deathrites are applied, they are applied at a stack of 3, besides Deathrite Venom, which applies 5. When dropping to 0, they will activate the Rupture potency on the target as Gluttony damage. These stacks will not lower at turn end, however they have certain on-hit conditionals to lower the stack, while also having another benefit on top of the Gluttony damage. For Deathrite Haste, they are activated when being hit by an ally with 10 or more speed, and when hit by said ally, Rupture count will be lowered. This is what makes the Mao branch absolutely broken for Rupture. Deathrite Venom is activated when being hit by a crit, and when activated, it will lower defense level or offense level to a max of 3 times per turn. Now for Deathrite Fissure. It is activated when triggering Rupture with a hit, which will be triggered by every ID as she puts enough Rupture for the hits to max out the stat. When activated, the dude will gain Bind to a max of 3 times. Now, if you are new to Faust, you may be wondering why I am emphasizing the activation of these Deathrite effects. Because, believe it or not, there's more benefits than they give than just Gluttony damage, Rupture count, Bind, offense, and defense levels. Remember this little Tianju Starblade guy? You gain 1 every time an ally activates Deathrite effect, double if it was Faust who activated it, up to a max of 5 times per turn. You can have a maximum of 20 Tianju Starblade, and it only costs 10 to activate the Ascendant Skill 3, which crits every single hit in case you were worried that she might not have been able to activate every single Deathrite effect. This in itself is insane, but we got through around half her kit so far, so you might want to cook up some popcorn because we're about to get to the meat and potatoes. There is a core mechanic that I left out. The Clashable counter in Skill 3 that gives Strider Mao also gives Assist Defense. Assist Defense gives her a Clashable Guard with an Unbreakable coin that gives her 2 protection on use, not even on Clash. Did I forget to mention that even though the Mao branch is known for being frail glass cannons, Faust at level 60 has 267 health with a single stagger bar all the way at the halfway point? Why in the world is she a tank? She has 4 less health than Wu Branch Yi Song, whose sole purpose is being a tank. When Faust uses an assist defense, she gains 5 Tianju Starblade, which might I add is not counted towards the cap she gained from the Deathrite effects. Now, you might be thinking, man, good thing this absolute nuke of a skill 3 is only once in a skill rotation. Well, as you see in the background, I've used the skill 3 of Faust almost every turn. This is because for whatever reason, when she uses her assist defense with 10 or more Tianju Starblade, that assist defense turns into Ascendant Skill 3, not even normal Skill 3, which is a nuke in and of itself. Now, if you're some sort of mathematician, you might have remembered that I said it only costs 10 Tianju Starblade to turn normal Skill 3 into Ascended, which also gives you an assist effect, and the max is 20. Yes, not only can you use a hydrogen bomb on a coughing baby every turn, if you have your skill 3 in your skill slots, and you're around 10 Tiandra Starblade or higher, you can throw 2 hydrogen bombs on the same or different babies. This is pretty much attack weight if you really thought about it. If you didn't know, these mounts put on Death-Ray Haste on the first hit and last hit of the skill 3 with the coin reuse at 10 speed. Malfaust is no exception, and she does it even better. Remember how I said her Ascendant skill 3 is the only way to inflict Death Rate Fissure? She does this exact same thing as Fissure as she does Haste. This is utterly broken. Now I think it's about time we get into her skill 1 and skill 2, don't you? Both of these 2 coin skills are Rupture Count Neutral and Clash Win, which is amazing. The skill 1 reuses the second coin once again applying Rupture Count to make it neutral. This is plus 3 count if there's Death Rate Haste and allows you to activate Rupture more times, whereas the skill 2 is plus 2 if there's Death Ray Haste, but will do more damage if there's Death Ray Haste or Fissure on the opponent, and also has way better clashing power. Both of these have very easy conditionals to fulfill, but why ever use them if you could just use the Clashful counter to get the free Ascendant skill 3? Now I am making it sound very trivial to get this up and running, but you could actually get up and running about turn 4, turn 3 if a Mao had a skill 3 at some point. To start gaining Tiandra Starblade, you need 5 Gluttony Sin Infinity's own. It's not like every single Heisho has a Gluttony defense skill that is clashable, allowing them to gain SP and not get punished heavily for using it. If a clashable counter is too risky for you, every Heisho besides Faust and Yisong have a Gluttony skill too. This is not difficult if you know what you are doing, and that is why I am teaching the future generation how to absolutely abuse my favorite ID in the game. Now, we are about through the entire kit, not including the Lord of Hongguan Honglu, but we'll get to them when we're going through strategies that you might use for some niche situation. I would love to give a guide on all Heisha at some point, so I will try to limit this to just Faust specific interactions as much as possible. Going into battle, your initial goal is to gain the 5 Gluttony Sin Infinity's own so you can start getting Tiandra Starblade. You may get a wee bit unlucky with some skills, and it might look like you're a little too short in some Gluttony skills. The Clashable counter and Clashable guard on the assist defense count as separate skills, allowing you to gain 2 Sin Infinities from a single skill as long as you have an unopposed attack on an ally who isn't defending. Since the Clashable guard and the Clashable counter are 2 separate skills, you also can get different sanity from winning the clash on both of them. This is absolutely massive, as she will always be early in the deployment order to combo with Honglu, so she won't ever get the sanity regen mechanic unless you swap her out later. You may have a skill 3 in the bottom slot of your starting turn. You can use out the clash with a skill and just focus on getting sanity, since the assist defense still triggers on the skill 3, so you're still getting 2 gluttony from it. You'll soon be able to use the skill 3 every turn, so you don't have to stress about wasting it. If anything, using the skill 3 right away might help you gain Starblade faster, as it inflicts Death Rate Haste for the next turn. Although if you do have a skill 3 in the top slot, or past, I would counter first to get the big damage and great Starblade gain. Congratulations, you now know what to do for the first turn on Malfaust. Now we get into the more niche mechanics. For the Clashable counter, you do need to clash with it if you want Strider Mal for the haste, but you get the assist defense no matter what. So if you have the Starblade and you'll think you lose the clash with the counter, you can just leave it unopposed to clash with the enhanced skill 3 instead. Adding on to that, the assist defense activates at combat start. It doesn't matter what speed Malfaust is, she'll always be clashing according to the opponent's speed. So if your team is outsped by a big skill, as long as it's targeting a teammate who isn't using a defense skill, you shall not need to work. Now, I keep saying that the unopposed attack will get assist defense as long as the person getting targeted isn't using a defense skill, but there is an exception. If it is targeting Malfaust herself, she will not block it, even if she's using the skill 3 to gain the assist defense. This is why I consider Yisong to be one of the greatest supports for Faust, as he gains great aggro, has great shield at turn start, so he doesn't even have to use a defense skill, cancelling the assist defense. For who is the best support for Faust? It's hard not to say Lord Lu. If you are very hesitant on using the skill 3 first turn when it's on the bottom slot, Lord Lu's skill 3 will activate her skill 3 and give her Strider Mal for the next turn to use her skill 3. This works inversely too, as you might wait to use Lord Lu's skill 3 until Malfaust's defense is first. Other gimmies for best supporting cast is obviously anyone who applies Death Ray, so both the Mao and C branch are obvious contenders. However, there are other ways to support Malfaust and bring her to her maximum potential, and I believe the answer is found in Command Meltdown. Do you have any idea how busted this thing is? People say Fluid Sack this, Fluid Sack that, but this ego is the GOAT. Let's just take a look at the Sin Infinity cost. Wow, 5 Gluttony, 2 Pride, 1 Sloth. Look familiar? Now this may look like a lot, but this is very feasible. You can even get it in the first turn. If you have Lord Lose skill 3, that one skill will give you 2 Pride and a Gluttony if Faust is second in command, meaning you just need 4 more Gluttony and 1 Sloth among 6 guys. Faust, Yisong, and Otis all have Sloth skill 1s. And well, look at that. The IDs I've mentioned for fueling these are in the best supporting castings. You can use the assist defense tech on top of this to gain even more Gluttony if need be. With the combo tech and Mount Faust using our assist defense, you can gain 9 Sin Affinities in a single turn. And that's way more than you need for Command Meltdown. I should mention, however, that the skill 3 that Honglu activates on the Faust will not make Faust gain assist defense. This is very sad, I know, broke my heart. But yeah, this ego heals insane health, the turn used and the future turns. Also halves the damage and heals SP. This, in my opinion, is better late game, as you are bound to get these abilities throughout the battle. It clashes for 30, 33 if they have Rupture on them, which, come on. Also, base 20 power is amazing for an ego if you count the plus 3 final power. Now listen to me for a second. This ego costs 20 sanity. It heals 15 at turn end for those with the least SP, which if everyone else is at full, she'll get it. This means after the ego, you'll be at 40 SP even if you clash with it at 45, not gaining the SP from clashing. Meaning it's only -5, +5 if you clash. Remember when I was making a big deal about her insanely high base health? This ego heals her 30% of her max health and the ally her 30 max health. Which means the frail guys that are low HP heal 30% of a tank's max health. Not even including the healing from Hardened Shell Barrier from the passive. What more could you ask for? My favorite sinner is Otis, but my favorite non-sinner is Zilu. And by golly did they do her justice after that fraud hang almost killed her. This is why she's absolutely the best ID in the game. This is plenty missing for some tiny increases in damage and passives, and things such as Mark of Decay. After Deathrite Fissure expires, giving you extra 10% from both Gluttony and Deathrite damage. But honestly, what more do you need to know about this character? Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you all later.